Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Paris Set Me Free show. I'm wearing a hot coffee. You can't see anything there. You know, I've got a real lack of Paris mugs. I want to have at least one really cheesy Paris mug, you know, with the Eiffel Tower or something on it. And I haven't got one. It's almost shameful. This one just says hot coffee, always fresh and natural in English. So it's not very Paris friendly. So if anybody wants to donate me a Paris mug, a horrible cheesy Paris mug with the Eiffel Tower on it, I would be forever grateful. Otherwise, I'll just go and buy one from a tourist shop. So this is the Paris Set Me Chiffro, the Paris Set Me Free show, and this is for anyone who is interested in Paris. Not just any Paris, my Paris. I mean, I say my Paris. It's not my Paris. It's everyone's Paris, but I can only give you my Paris. So that's what I want to do for the next hour. Give you my take on the city of light and shadow, because not everything is as glittery and shiny and squeaky clean as the tourist brochures or the postcards would have you believe. So that said, I do want to prove to you that I sort of have some relationship with Paris. And this is my proof, my poem from 1997. That's 25 years ago. This is my claim to fame of actually having some relationship with the city. And I don't know if I'm going to read it every time, but I'll read it now just in case it's interesting for you. That's the Eiffel Tower, my photograph. It always looks like that through my eyes with nice sort of rainbow clouds and stuff. And it's called My Reality. This is my Paris, my reality. No one sees what I see. It belongs to me. This is my sky. These are my clouds, my reality. I belong to no one. Paris set me free. Sab Will, 1997, and I'm still here. A lot of stuff to show you about Paris. I've got my latest chapter of Paris photographs to show you. And, you know, there might be a story or two to go with those about the history, about something I did. Who knows? It's all kind of spontaneous. I'm going to tell you about a really cool exhibition by a street artist in a classic Parisian museum, and very much linked to history. And he's also taken his exhibition out into the streets. He's a street artist, so he's actually decorated the streets around that museum as well. I'm going to tell you about other things which I've just forgotten. I'm going to tell you about some street art that I am going to put in the streets of Paris in, I don't know if honor is the word, but on the theme of the mess that is happening in Eastern Europe at the moment, and probably some other things. Say hello in the chat. I hope the chat is working. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Some people comment, sometimes they don't. I would love you to comment. Oh, yes. And very important, I've got a Paris quiz for you. In fact, 3 quizzes. So it's 3 quiz questions. I'm going to make this a regular feature. A few quiz questions on Paris. Shall we start with one right now? Say hello, by the way. If you're watching, I can see you. If you're watching on the replay, say hello too. I'd love to know. So let's have a Paris quiz, shall we? So if you want to join my group, then this is the group to join. It's called Paris Set Me Free, featuring the Paris quiz, you see. Next live show, 10th March, and it's the 10th. So I'm up to date for once. Paris Set Me Free. The group is called Discover the City of Light and Shadow of Sab in Paris. It's a pretty clumsy name at the end, I realize, but that's what it is. So if you want to join that on Facebook, you can. And here's the first quiz question, folks. And I've got a couple of people saying hello. So I've got Dorothy is saying hello. Hello, Dorothy. Nice to have you here in Paris with me. Beatrice, hi, Bea. Nice to have you here in Paris. And maybe Roxanne is watching as well. Hello, Roxanne, if you're watching. So this is the first quiz question. Oh, Beatrice, I'm going to talk about your museum later. Quiz number 1. You see, these my Paris quizzes, they're not sort of standard rat stuff. They're more weird, wonderful, quirky. That's why I've called it Quirky, Curious, Crazy and Cool. Beatrice, I think, is happy that I'm going to mention her museum. What's wrong with this sign? That is my son's finger, by the way, my son's finger. What's wrong with this sign? And he's pointing to something. I mean, he could be pointing to anything, but he's pointing to one of the stations. And here are the options. Place d'Italie isn't on line 7. So this, under Leo's hand, it says Place d'Italie, and there's the line 7. It's the connections. We don't actually know what this line is. These are the connections, you see. Or Chevaleret isn't on line 10. There's Chevaleret with line 10 there. And Bercy isn't on line 6. Bercy, and this is line 6. So should I give you the answer straight away? No. Type into the chat if you want to. What is wrong with this sign? And I'll come back to that in a second. Right, I'm going to jump straight in to the photos of the week, but if you have questions at any time, let me know and I will answer. What do you think is wrong with that? Okay, no, that's my painting. I'm going to go to the photos. So I've just completed the chapter today, although I haven't done the text, but I have done all of the photos. So this one is wrong. This one is right. This is my new batch of Paris photos. Beatrice is saying it's B. It's B, and she's talking about this. She says Chevaleret isn't on line 10. Okay, but it looks like it is, though, doesn't it? It looks very official. I'll give you the answer to that in a second. And this is my batch of photographs. This is chapter, I don't know what chapter it is. Maybe I do. It's volume 3, book, volume 3, book 1, chapter 8 in my series. Now, this is a series of photographs. It's a little project. It's planned to last for 18 years with a photo and a text every day. I'm going to go through some of these photos. Any comments at any time, please give me comments and questions. I love to hear them. So this is the Marais. And this is a funny photo. The Marais is just so wonderful. It's that area just to the north of the river, a very old area, a lot of medieval buildings and lovely places to see. And there's a quarter called Le Marais. And this quarter is famous for 2 or 3 things. One is it's traditionally a Jewish area. Another reason it's a homosexual area. I mean, it sounds a bit weird to say that, but, you know, for some reason, there's a big homosexual community there with a few bars and stuff. Then there's a lot of fashion, modern fashion shops, and there's a lot of tourists. I don't think many actual real people live there. Unfortunately, the fashion side is chasing out the more traditional side. So every now and then, there's a traditional bakery or something gets closed down, but I hope, keep my fingers crossed, that not too much of that is going to disappear. And there's some really lovely old ceramic things to look at. So this is me wandering around down the streets of the Marais. You can see the street is quite narrow, looking up, and lo and behold, I see a couple of things to fill in my photo. Bottom left, a really nice old Parisian lamp. Top right, a strange combination of Corsican sort of independence flag. It's not really independence, but it's the flag that they use on the island of Corsica, which whenever anything's an island, they start asking themselves, do I really want to be part of the biggest lump of land near me or not? And there's a very strong sort of maybe independentist spirit. They don't necessarily want to leave France, although some of them do. Then there's some sort of strange, I don't know, windsock or something. And then there's a multicolored, rainbow-colored windmill as well. So I think and I love this slashing slice of blue. This isn't the photo show, so I won't go into too many details. This, I guess you all know where this is, don't you? Shall I ask you? No, I think you know. It's Beaubourg, otherwise known as the Pompidou Center, because I think it was started, this huge thing. I don't know if you know it, but it's like a building where it's got its insides out. It's like its guts have been spilled out. The thing it reminds me of is the film The Fly by David Cronenberg, where you go into this time machine, and if it doesn't work very well, you're transported across to the other thing, or transformation machine, but you've actually come out with all your guts on the outside of your skin. this is kind of what that reminds me of. Pretty gruesome, but it's also pretty amazing. They've got color codes for all the different pipes and things outside. So blue, I think, is for the air circulation, ventilation. They've got green pipes, they've got yellow, they've got red, they've got things like that. So some are for electricity, some are for water, and it's pretty cool. It's just a really amazing building, whether you like it or not. You can't miss it. You go to any high point in Paris and look down on the city and you see, well, if I can't identify any of those churches, any of those domes, there's the damn Pompidou Center. What do you think? Do you think the Pompidou Center is an absolute eyesore, a horrible thing? Is this the worst thing Paris could have ever done? Or is it actually quite good? I like the fact that they did it because I don't have an issue because I came and it was already there. So it was like fait accompli. But same thing with the Louvre pyramid. I wasn't here before it, so I couldn't really react against it. I just came and there it was. But I'd be interested to know if you think, like, if you're on the replay or if you're live, do you think that the Pompidou Center is a stroke of genius, a daring new adventure in architecture, or an absolute disaster, ruining classical Paris forever? Do you think the Louvre pyramid is wonderful or awful? Do you think the colonne Buren, the black and white columns in the stripy columns in the Palais Royal, are great or awful? I'd love to know. I had a recent picture of these huge tulips in a very nice little calm garden behind Le Petit Palais, and they're by Jeff Koons. You know, he does those weird sort of, looks like it's an inflatable balloon dog type of thing. Well, he did tulips that looked a little bit like that, slightly weird. You know, just something a bit weird about them. Huge thing, huge sculpture right in the middle of a traditional Paris park. And the question was, you know, is it good or not? And the thing with art in Paris, when it's in public art, like a huge new sculpture, the thing is, once it's there, it then becomes a public thing. And there's an awful lot of problems actually getting it taken down again. The artist can say, no, that's my work. You can't touch it, even if everybody ends up hating it. So that's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, this isn't art. This holds art. What they've done is they've tried to make it reasonably... They're doing some roadworks, and they've decorated the roadworks with some of the pictures, which apparently are inside. I don't think they're all inside. I don't think there's Miro here. I think that's in Barcelona, not inside here. But yeah, making it look... anyway, it is what it is. I thought it was a nice shot, you know, to have this amazing, colourful thing below, with the pipes above. And then this is another one in the Marais. And this is funny because apart from the picture, which, you know, I really like this picture, on the wall in the exact same style as a traditional Paris street sign is something that says truc à faire, which means something to do. I've got something to do. J'ai un truc à faire. I have something to do. And it's high up. It looks like it's been there for decades. It's crazy, and yet it's fake. You know, it shouldn't be there. That's pretty cool. Just down below is the real street sign, and that's pretty funny. In my mind, I imagined that the bird flying by was being called by the one on the lamp, who was saying, "Hey, do you want to come down and have a peck or something? Have a witter?" And the other one said, "No, sorry, can't do that. I've got places to go, people to see. J'ai un truc à faire." And he flew on by. Let me give you the answer to the first of our Paris quizzes. And the answer was, as Beatrice said, it's B. It is indeed B. Can you imagine what a cock-up this is? It's a beautiful, spanking brand new sign. And that little 10 there is absolutely normal. It's not, you know, temporary or anything. And there it is, with just one small problem. Chevalerie is nowhere near line 10. Line 10 does not go to Chevalerie. I looked this up, and in fact, there is a plan to take line 10, to extend it. They're currently extending almost all the Paris metros at the moment, or a lot of them, outside of Paris, gently, slowly growing, because they're building a new line that goes around, they call it Grand Paris, so like Great Paris. I suppose it's a bit like Greater London. So they're building another line which is outside of Paris but does go around Paris, taking in a bunch of sort of big commercial centers, business centers. So what they're doing is they're slowly extending the metro lines, which at first stopped just inside Paris. Then one or two of them, like La Défense, started to go outside Paris a little bit. Now they're extending them all out so that they will all reach, or many of them will reach, the new big ring railway thing. So yeah, line 10, there is a plan to extend line 10 to 𝗏𝙗𝙗, but it's planned for 2030, and it's currently, when I took this photo, it's 2021. So they're a little bit too early. So well done, Beatrice. You are today's first winner. I'll give you another quiz in a minute. Okay, let me tell you something else. I'm going to, by the way, say hello again. Any comments on these photographs? I'm asking you questions, so I'd love to get some comments. So which of these three photographs so far do you like? Have you been to the Marais? What do you think of the Marais? Do you like it? I'm going to show you something that I'm doing now as my reaction to the Ukraine war invasion. And my question to myself was, what do I do? Do I do anything? What can you do? Here I am sitting in France, and you know, I could send a few euros to someone. I don't know who. We have people outside train stations asking for money to help Ukrainians. So maybe I'll do that. But then I thought, no, come on, let's be more creative. And hi, Thomas. Nice to have you here. And I decided to do some art, my style of art. I've already started putting my pictures on the walls of Paris. So I am a Paris street artist, if you like labels. But I did it a little bit many years ago. Then I stopped, and now I'm on a run. I'm going to put loads and loads of my little squares. That's the back side of the square. I'll show you the front in a minute. Lots and hundreds of my little squares all over Paris. So I will be someone you'll be able to see my little squares if you come to Paris. It's funny because normally pieces of art on the wall are big, but I don't have such pretensions. I would rather do lots of little ones than one or two big ones every now and then. So that's my approach. I'm going to show you what I've done. I've finished it. I'm going to put them in the walls of Paris this weekend, I think. Thomas is saying, hi, everyone. On the pic with the birds, I saw the bird sitting on the lamp last. Let me bring that up. There it is. As the last thing. And I just like the photographs I have seen here in the last minutes. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, you don't see everything in photographs. There's often so much more to photographs than meets the eye, which is strange because theoretically, when you look at a photograph, everything meets the eye. But no, it doesn't. I was saying, I think in another show on Tuesday, my creativity show, we are drawn to the human face, for example, something living. We're programmed to see other people because, well, or animals, because they could be danger, for example, or they could be friendly. And I know Dorothy, for example, loves seeing faces in trees or in the sky, as many of us do. But I mean, there aren't, are there? In bark, there aren't real faces, but the brain will convince us that there's a face in the clouds. There's an elephant. There's a face. So we'll be drawn to certain things, and we will completely ignore other things. So you might be drawn to the bird flying and not realize that he's flying past another bird. Or you might be looking at the two lamps and then not see this thing here, which is a very, very strange street sign indeed. Truc à faire. So that's fun. Beatrice says it's what? It's okay, it's. Thomas says last is meant to read last. autocorrect bis is so stupid. Well, okay. Or Faces in Stones. Of course, Faces in Stones. Dorothy says, yes, I love it. Dorothy is an expert at seeing faces in nature. And who are we to say that there aren't faces? Because if you look at a picture and you say you recognize someone in a picture, it's not really the person, is it? You're looking at a piece of paper with some color on it. So you see, right. So this is what I did art-wise. I decided to do my little squares, and I'm going to show you the process that I went through. Now I've decided to offer some of my little squares up for adoption, and I'm going to donate. Say, for example, I ask 12 or 13 euros for a little square. After the postage and the processing has gone from, the processing thing to accept the money, I'll give the rest to an official Ukrainian fund, for example. So it'll probably be about 9 euros will go to the Ukrainian fund, and the rest will be in the postage of me sending it to you, and the payment fee, the processing fee. So if that's interesting for you, and I'll show you this in a minute. I will. On the other side, you see, there's something else. So this is the process that I went through. This is the first one. I'll make it bigger. And I decided to do it in 9 steps because I like doing things in 9. You can see my little desktop size pictures here are grids of 9 squares, and I'm doing 9 of them. So I'm doing 81. So I'm thinking of offering 1, 2, or 3 up for adoption, and the others put on the streets of Paris. Here's the second one. Now this one, you can see I started adding more things. The funny thing is, you can't see any of this when the painting is finished. It's really strange, and yet I do it. You might think, why bother? Well, I know this stuff is there. It all has a significant meaning, and I can show you the process as I'm making it, so you know it's there as well. So this isn't the painting show, this isn't the creativity show, so I'll just show you the process. So here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 2 in detail. Oh no, that was number 2 in detail. Hang on, where's number 2? Yeah. Number 3, I painted it all in white. Number 4, I painted it all in yellow. Number 5, what color's next? I painted it all in red. This is what the red looks like. So, it's pretty cool red. The only thing is, you're not going to see it. It's only underneath. But the reason I did this underneath thing, hang on, is because I wanted to have all the colors of the Russian flag and the Ukrainian flag in this painting, even if you can't see them. I started with the blue of the blue jeans. So there's the blue from the Russian flag is blue, white, and red. There's the blue of the blue jeans. There's the white of the Russian flag. There's red of the Russian flag. The red with yellow under it is going to underlie the real thing. I also thought that with this, I felt that this could be symbolic. These are ripped jeans, parts of ripped jeans. And the wood, which is from 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Ceinture, which goes around Paris, this, which is the little railway, the old railway that goes around Paris, this is a bit like splinters of something that's been exploded. So, not really happy, but it's not a happy situation. So, number 5, that's what it looks like up close. Number 6, starting to put some blue on there. And number 7 is putting yellow. So you can see it's a representation of the Ukrainian flag. It's not exactly the Ukrainian flag because I don't paint. Everything runs on. So the yellow from one runs onto the yellow of the next. So that's why I did it like that. And then I put some circles in the middle. As you can see, the circles there. And finally, this is the final version. And you can see it bigger there. So what I'm going to do is put these around the streets of Paris. So let me show you those in detail. So here's one. It's finished. Hey, finished at last. Let's see if it's going to focus on that. Don't know if it wants to focus. There you go. Okay, so there's one. Here's another one. As you can see, it's in neoclassical smiley style. If I go really close, it ends up focusing. There you go. So that's another one. And yeah, so I've taken smileys because, you know, I'm a great classically trained artist. So I use what makes most sense for me. And it's smileys, because I use smileys all day, every day. So there's another one. So as you can see, they are not happy expressions. They're not happy campers. And they have a blue tear. Okay, they all have a blue tear. And they have a slash across them somewhere because they've been hurt. And there is also an S, which is my signature. You have the infinity squared here. That's the infinity squared symbol. The S is my signature. In the top corner, you have the Eiffel Tower. And here you have some form of the hammer and sickle, which is the symbol of the Soviet Union and communism. And the whole thing is spattered with red. So I'm going to put a lot of these up in Paris. I don't know how many, because I'm also going to offer them for adoption. So if you want to contribute about €9 to a fund, an official fund, which I will donate visibly to, then I'll do that. I really like your sad, worrying smileys, says Thomas. Yeah. So that's what I've done. That's what came to me to do, this idea of getting some sort of art out there. And I was thinking to myself, what difference will this make? What a waste of time. Don't be stupid, you know. And yet I've seen other street artists doing things in Paris. In fact, if I look, I Googled this the other day, today, and I Googled Paris street, there it is, Paris street art Ukraine. And there are some really powerful images that are already coming up. Let's see if I can show you those. Okay, there's one. Let's see if I can make this bigger. So that's Pray for Ukraine. I'm not sure where that is. This one. Now this is a street artist called Ghegos. And I don't know if it's he who has painted it in these colors or somebody else who has done it. It's probably him. I think that might even be him in the picture. I'm not sure. And I myself have painted one of his faces. Let me show you. So what he does is he makes casts of his face with the tongue out, or smiling, or with a kind of frown or a kiss like this, and he gives them to other artists in other towns, and they paint them and they put them on the walls. Now, I got some of his stuff many years ago and I painted it in my style, but I knew that if I put it on the walls, eventually someone would smash it or something, and I couldn't bear to do it. So I still have them. I have 3 or 4 with the tongue out, you see. So these are good ones for taking pictures with. And it is in my style, because you see the green here carries on there, and the purple there carries on there, and the orange there carries on there. So it is in my style. It's there's the infinity squared. You can see the infinity squared there on the nose. Focus for me, focus. Anyway, you can see it. If I put my hand there, sometimes it focuses on the hand. So that one's pretty powerful as well. Here's another one. This one is really, I think this might be in 𝗏𝙗𝗘𝗘. If you're interested, open image in new tab. Okay. It's still not very big. So you've got a girl with the Ukrainian flag marching on Russian tanks and destroying them, which is quite powerful as well, isn't it? So yeah, other street artists are doing it. This one is really nice as well. Look at this, amazing. I'm not sure where this is though. Hang on, open a new tab. Appears in Cardiff. Oh, this is in Cardiff. Okay, that's very small. That's amazing. Okay, so I thought, all right, people are doing it. And why are we doing it? Are we doing it to raise awareness, to raise money, or just to help ourselves? Oops, that's the next quiz. Hang on. Or just to help ourselves feel better? So I thought, okay, I will explicitly offer some of these up for adoption so that I can contribute some money in a creative way to the fund, and also put some on the walls of Paris. So at least, you know, maybe if Ukrainians, if they see that other people are concerned about them, maybe it'll help their morale. I don't know. All right, so that's that. Let's look at some more photographs. No, let's have another quiz. So quiz number 2. Did I give you the answer? The answer is B. Quiz number 2. This stunning ceramic shop sign is in, where is it? Rue Tiquetonne in the 2nd arrondissement. Rue Mouffetard in the 5th arrondissement, or Avenue du Général Leclerc in the 14th arrondissement. This is a type of a sign, or enseigne, as they say in French, which is, it's just so spectacular. It's ceramic, and it's old. You know, it's from like 100 years ago or 200 years ago or something, and it indicated a boutique. And the funny thing is, they've kept the name of the boutique and things and the street sign above, but actually it's not a chocolate shop at all. So sometimes they do that. They leave the old name if it's been sort of classified as a historical monument, like an old boulangerie or something, and underneath it's a clothes shop. But this is one of the most beautiful old street signs, ceramic signs in Paris. Where is it? Is it in this amazingly named Rue Tiquetonne in the 2nd, Rue Mouffetard in the 5th, which is also a wonderful street, or slightly more boring, Avenue du Général Leclerc in the 14th? I will tell you that in a second. Let's have a look at some more photos. So the next ones are this. This is very strange. This is Vance Station. It seems like someone is always renovating some Paris station somewhere. It's absolutely incredible. This is no exception. This is Vincennes. It looks like post-apocalyptic nightmare, you know, from some horror film. These hoardings are temporary. The roof thing is temporary. These huge clumps of wire covered in this horrible plastic stuff which has somehow become undone, and it's all hanging down. It's just so I like it. It makes a good photograph, because sometimes like I said, Paris is the city of light and shadow. There are the bright sides and there are the dark sides. There are the beautiful bits, there are the ugly bits. And this is one of the ugly bits at the moment. Beatrice says, I think it's Avenue du Général Leclerc for our second quiz question. Come on, I'm trying to show it to you and it won't. Okay, thanks for your guess. So you don't think it's one of the more traditionally classic roads? Okay, well, I'll tell you in a minute if you don't know already yourself. All right, next photograph is this one. I forgot to check on who it is, who it's by and stuff like that. But it's not César, is it? I'm not sure. But anyway, here it is, and it's looking at the Pompidou Center, the famous Beaubourg. Yeah. Now this photograph, it actually annoys me. I'll tell you why, because I'll read a poem that I wrote, and this poem will tell you why it annoys me. So here's the poem. Split-second soliloquy. This is a picture of a wondrous bird. Its dark wings spread, echo art absurd. Dead cries sent to heavy skies, pain more felt than heard. The chick was quick, my click was slow though. The bird is not in the photo. The first time I read it, I don't have the rhythm. I'll try again. This is a picture of a wondrous bird. Its dark wings spread, echo art absurd. Dead cries sent to heavy skies, pain more felt than heard. The chick was quick, my click was slow though. The bird is not in the photo. The point is, a bird, a black bird, wings outspread, flew over this statue half a second before I took this shot. It was amazing. The bird was an echo of the statue, or vice versa. I didn't get it. I clicked too slow though, and the bird is not in the photo. That's life. So here's the picture of the statue anyway, but oh my goodness, I would love to have had that bird. I will remember the photo that I did not take forever. Even if I forget this one, I won't forget the one that I didn't take, which had the bird just above it. A bit like in this photograph, it was like that, but bigger. Literally, it just went right over the top. Anyway, I'll stop regretting that. This is in the Marais. In the Marais, walk around, there are some amazing shops, and there are some crummy little shops. This was a crummy little shop, not even a really cool secondhand record store. At least I don't think so. And there's Jimmy and a Steve Miller album on the turntable. Does anybody remember turntables? I used to have one. I think I might still have one somewhere. I've got a lot of albums, and then I've got CDs, and then I gave up. Jimi Hendrix, and this sent me on a long reverie into the past. One day, I think I will sell all my albums to on eBay or to some Paris secondhand record shop. You know, real records. Vinyl is kind of popular in a way, isn't it? But not yet. Not yet, just in case. There was something so wonderful. Do you remember albums, people, on the replay if you're watching live? Do you remember the pleasure, not only the pleasure of putting an album on and putting the needle on and, you know, and then it starts. Then you have to turn it over halfway, but also the pleasure of rifling through the stacks of albums to see what was new, what you might have, what was on special offer. I remember going home up the hill to my house, happy every Saturday with a couple of albums that I bought. Ah, those were the days. And Jimmy was one of the first people who got me into music, notably with Voodoo Child Slight Return. What a mind-blowing track that is. Anyway, you can read the blah blah about that if you want on Paris Set Me Free. There it is. Or you can stop the video and read it now. Okay, so the answer to this was, quiz number 2 was, dun, da, 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 Béatrice, you're a star. It was C. It is Avenue du Général Leclerc. You wouldn't think so, because it seems like a kind of a boring avenue with modern shops, whereas the other two are really old little streets in historic quarters. And yet, yes, this is going south. Well, actually, the sign isn't going south at all. The sign is staying where it is. But the road goes south from one of the old gateways of Paris. On the one of the toll, there was a wall. There were several walls around Paris, and at one point there was a big wall quite far out with a gate you had to go through. It was very much about paying taxes to come in and be able to sell your stuff in Paris. And there's one that's a place called Denfert-Rochereau. And there's a road going south from there. It was originally the road going to Orléans. I think it used to be called something like Rue d'Orléans or Avenue d'Orléans. In fact, there's a building in this street where you can see the old name. That's a Paris curiosity. And on this street, going out to Alicia and then Porte d'Orléans and then the south is this. All right, let me give you one more quiz. No, let me do something different now. Let me show you the exhibition. I'm going to get rid of all of these photo things that are taking up memory. I'm going to show you the exhibition from the Musée, le Musée de l'Ordre de Libération. And this is where Béatrice works. I don't think it's a secret. Okay, just let it do its thing. I hope I haven't closed the yeah. Okay, so this is an exhibition that I'm going to see on Sunday, and it's Musée de l'Ordre de la Libération. This was a special decoration in recognition of people who took part in the liberation, in the resistance in France in the Second World War. And I think there were over 1,000 people who had this medal, this sort of decoration. In fact, if I can't actually, yeah, in the top left there, you can see a picture of the cross of Lorraine. I think it's the Croix de Lorraine, which was is part of the symbol. I wonder if there's actually a picture somewhere. There probably is. So this is the guy. This is Invalides, and this is Churchill. But there's an exhibition by a street artist called C215 or C215 or 𝐶215, and he does these amazing things. In French, they're called pochoirs. In English, I think it's called stenciling, and he does these amazing portraits on electricity boxes and post boxes. And he has been commissioned. I mean, this guy has arrived. You know, he gets official commissions from Parisian museums, and he was, or when I say commissioned, I think he does them. He maybe does them for free, but he gets his art all over Paris legally. That is so incredible. This guy has just got it. He's arrived. It's the dream of everyone, you know, all sort of street artists maybe. Anyway, so he's got an exhibition in this museum, in Beatrice's museum, and I'm going to see it on Sunday. But not only that, not only has he decorated some of the items inside the museum, he's also decorated a lot of the electricity boxes, the post boxes, around in the 7th arrondissement. He got permission from the mayor to do it, and that's now a route you can go around. So I'm going to do that as well. So there's been a few articles on the exhibition, of course, so I just wanted to show you a couple of photographs. So there's one. I don't know if it goes bigger or not. Yeah, look at that. Now, I'm kind of surprised, because if this is a historical object from World War II, would they really let him paint it? I mean, once it's been painted, it can't be unpainted, can it? So I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. But it looks authentic, an authentic object. And it's been painted on an old sort of suitcase type thing. So Bear, you can tell me if it's really been, if he had permission to paint on old historical objects or not. That's not it. Okay, so okay, here's another one. So this is inside the museum. That's obviously on the left. It's been painted on the wall. These are all members of the resistance, and has this been painted on some sort of bomber jacket? I can't believe they let him. Anyway, that's my problem. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing this museum for the first time on Sunday. There's another one on the side of an old radio, by the looks of it. Okay, so Bear's saying he bought himself objects and did what he wanted. He bought the objects himself. Okay, so these weren't originally museum objects. That's incredible. They're not our objects, but you can imagine, look at it. It's really an old radio, isn't it? I mean, it looks like it's authentic. Oh my goodness, this reminds me of something I remember seeing in my grandmother's, my parents possibly, but my grandmothers, especially my grandparents, had things like this. Incredible. And then here is something from the this belonged to Jean Moulin, who was a member of the resistance. Okay, and there's the museum. It's bigger than I thought. I didn't realize it was that big. Okay, that's great. I mean, we're going to see it with a couple of kids, so I'm not sure how much reading of the panels I'll be doing, but one day I'll look at. These are just more photos from. Look at that. That's excellent. Outside, what an amazing portrait. Outside with a view on Invalides. So what I'm going to do with my little squares, do you remember my little squares, people? I'm going to put my little squares, not on his beautiful painted things. I'm going to find bits of walls and things, and I'm going to put my little squares up. Not exactly in the same league, but hey, we're not comparing, are we? And I can actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but since the Ukraine crisis, I've started seeing yellow and blue together everywhere. And there it is. Can you see yellow and blue on that? A coincidence, but there you go. Okay. How do I get out of here? Escape? Yeah. Now there is a video as well. You might be interested. Paris fans, Paris freaks. There's a video of the guy, the artist, explaining his exhibition. I won't. That's the famous cross, which was the symbol of the liberation, and it's called entre ombre et lumière, which means between shadow and light. And I call Paris the city of light and shadow, or light and shade. And that's his studio. Look at all those aerosol cans. Okay, and this is him talking. And he's saying he's a portraitist, and he uses the stenciling technique to decorate all of these buildings. Does that make it bigger? No. So there's a link to that on the site, the museum site. There you can see he's doing his thing. He doesn't seem to be taking much time. It's incredible. And then there's quite a long report. I didn't realize it's 10 minutes. He's talking about him having bought the items and then doing the decorations. So he has a reputation for doing things without being paid, I think. He really appreciates war heroes and people who have, men and women who have been great role models and had a big influence on people. I don't know the guy, don't know him yet. I'll probably meet him one day. So it's really interesting to be able to do that and to show, I'm going to show my son this on Sunday. There aren't too many trains involved, so I'm not sure how long his attention is going to be held, but maybe he can pretend he's on a train as we go walking around the streets looking for all of these things. And at some point, I have to drag him around the streets to put some of my little things up as well. Okay, did I give you the third of my quizzes? Here's number 3. Quiz number 3. This is someone's thumb sculpture at somewhere. So behind me is a sculpture of a huge thumb. But whose thumb is it? There's the question of whose thumb is it, if it's actually somebody's thumb, and then there's the question of who did the sculpture. Is it César at La Défense? Is it Mayol at the Tuileries? Or is it Dali at Montmartre? That's the question. And there will be more of these next week. I've got plenty. I can give you another 3 next week. So where is this sculpture and who is it by? Is it César, by César at La Défense? Is it Mayol at the Tuileries? Or is it by Dali and you will find it at Montmartre? Now I will show you my last 3. I'm doing well here. I'm bang on time. My last 3 photos. And then we're done. Are we done? No, we're not quite done. I've got something else to show you. I'm going to show you. Beatrice says, thanks for the museum. Yes, it was great. I'm excited about visiting it. And I'm going to show you 3 or 4 old Paris posters that I bought from Montmartre a couple of days ago at the end. Just let me go through my last photos. This is interesting. This could be a quiz. This will be a quiz question. because I you hear me? There we go. All right. So this is a very interesting. Now, there are some metros that are not like other metros. Some are absolutely normal, some are completely crazy, and some are somewhere in between. And this one is somewhere in between. Do you know where it is? Well, stop the video if you want to think. This is Jaurès metro. And what you're looking at is a stained glass window. It goes along a few of the windows, and you can see that there's actually a kind of looks like a building behind. This is to suggest the storming of the Bastille in 1789, wasn't it? And this may be because nearby there's a couple of quays on the Canal Saint-Martin. One is called a 𝗔𝙑, I think it's called Valny, and the other one is called 𝗘𝙤𝙤𝙦, which are the quays on the canal. Now, these were decisive battles in revolutionary battles at the time of the French Revolution, 1789. So that might be why they've chosen this station to do that. The station has a really interesting history, actually, in terms of names. It was near a road called Rue d'Allemagne, and just before the First World War, well, obviously relations were getting rather, and the station was called Rue d'Allemagne. And just before the Second World War, things were really, really tense between France and Germany. So to make things better, France renamed the road and the station Rue de France. Instead of Germany Road, they named it France Road. Then, just before the outbreak of the First World War, a pacifist politician, socialist, called Jean Jaurès, was assassinated in a cafe called le Café du Croissant, the Croissant Cafe. I'm not sure if it means like a crescent moon or actually the croissant that you eat, but he was assassinated, shot in the back twice through the window, so then they renamed the station again. They renamed the station Jaurès and the road in his honor. So yeah, just you see something like this colorful flag that looks like lots of French flags. You look into it a little bit, and bam, you've got a slice of French history for the price of looking out of a window. Next. This, I thought I knew everything and anything and everything about what you see when you come out of the Bibliothèque François Mitterrand station. I was wrong. I had one of my long waits. There was a joke when you were a kid that a science joke, the teacher, the chemistry teacher asks one of the pupils in their class to go to the physics classroom, knock on the door and ask for a long wait from the physics teacher, a long wait. And the kid thinks that it's some sort of technical device. So he goes there and knocks on the door, it opens, and he says, "Yes, I've come from the chemistry teacher. He wants you to give me a long wait, please." So the physics teacher thinks for a little bit with a bit of a smile on his face and says, "Okay, just hold on a second." And then he goes away and he comes back in 10 minutes and said, "Was that long enough for you?" So why the hell am I saying that? Yeah, no. Anyway, so I came out and Oh yeah, that's it. I had a long wait for my train because there's lots and lots and lots of problems on the lines. They've got about. I made a collection of excuses that French announcements make for the current problem with the trains, and I'm sure I'm up to about 20 or 25. So there was a long wait. So in my long wait, I went up outside and walked around. And this building was beautifully lit up in very strange colors. And there's this thing being projected on the side of it. And I thought, what's that? And it's actually a college, which is the equivalent of probably American middle school or British secondary school, lower secondary school. And the college is called Collège Thomas Mann. Thomas Mann. And that's him. That's him being projected, I imagine. And Thomas Mann was a sort of a novelist, German novelist, but an essayist, social commentator, critique, and basically he hated the Nazis. He was active up to and during and after the Second World War, and around about 1930. Oh, I love your picture. Okay, great, thanks. Is this one or this one or this one? The flags or the this? So anyway, so already about 1930, he was making speeches, talks, criticizing Nazism. So, guess who wasn't very popular with Hitler? So he fled. He fled Germany in about 1935, I think. As the Nazis were coming into power, he fled to Switzerland, and then when the war broke out, he then fled further to the United States. And he was known as, there's a special term for it, I can't remember, something like the exiliterati or exiliterary people. In other words, he wrote in exile. And now the one with Thomas Mann. The one with Thomas Mann with the orange and red colors. It's amazing. And the blue, orange and blue is an amazing combination, which is the first color combination I asked my parents to paint my bedroom when I was a little boy, blue and orange. And so he fled. And he made some interesting comparisons also between Russian communism and Nazism to an extent. To an extent. Well, I only read the Wikipedia thing, but to an extent defending communism in relation to Nazism or fascism, saying that theoretically it's better, but that it went completely bad when authoritarianism took over, the original communist values. So basically a good guy, I think. I was going to say basically a good gay as well, because although I don't think he was overtly homosexual or explicitly or anything, apparently, according to Wikipedia, he struggled with his sexuality, with his latent or repressed homosexuality, although he didn't really let it come out. And even some of his children, one of his children, who most of them came out as gay, I think, afterwards as well, which is interesting. One of them criticized his dad for not being more open about it, like for playing it down. But, times were times, and certain things were accepted, certain things weren't. And it was only when his journals were found and published that people realized how much this was sort of underpinning some of his novels. Anyway, that was interesting as well. Another thing you find when you've, got your eyes open and you just wander around. So I wandered around an area I thought I knew, saw the projection, thought, what's that? Went into it. And I'm even tempted to read something that he's written. I got confused between Thomas Paine and Thomas Mann at first. Thomas Paine did The Rights of Man, and Thomas Mann didn't. Although Thomas Mann did win a Nobel Prize for literature. So there's that. We're pretty much at the end, everyone. That's an hour. One more for the route. for the road? No, let me show you this first, and then I'll give you my last photograph. Oh, and then okay, maybe I won't have time. This is actually, Beatrice, you didn't tell me. This is at La Défense, which is the business district outside of Paris, and it is by César, who is a sculptor who is famous for making sculptures out of crushed cars, amongst other things. He crushed metal, like objects, into a square. Hey presto, you've got a sculpture. So if you've ever been going around a modern art museum, and you've seen something that looks like a car wreck in the shape of a cube, it'll be César, probably. He's also done some amazing stuff which isn't cars wrecked and squeezed into a cube, which I can tell you about some other time, because they have featured in my my Paris photos. I wanted to show you some posters that I bought from Montmartre, but I won't. I'll show you next time. Then I'll have something to talk about next time. Some classic Paris posters. I'll show you them quickly, an example. So there's a couple. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about those next time. And I will leave you with one more photograph. Because I do these shows bi-monthly, or is it bi-weekly? I never know. Every 2 weeks. I've actually got 14 new Paris photographs to talk about each time. Ah, yes. So this is the last thing I'll show you. It's my last photo of the night, folks. Thanks for watching. And it is, yeah, Beatrice. Did I say that? Beatrice said, yeah. Where am I and what am I looking at? That is a cool Paris quiz in its own right, I think. And you know what? I'm not going to give you the answer. I've just invented a new thing on the spur of the moment. So my quiz question, which I will answer next week, is, in this photograph, where am I and what am I looking at? That's it, everybody. So I will say good night. Thanks for watching. That was fun. I consider talking about Paris to be one of my favorite things. So if you liked it, come back, show people, tell people about it, and there'll be more of the same next week if all goes according to plan, which it never does, but hopefully this plan will. And my next shows are on Tuesday. It will be my smartphone photography show. So photography show on Tuesday, and then on Thursday it will be creative blog and article writing. Then it will be the following Tuesday will be creativity itself, including painting and stuff like that. And then the following Thursday, 2 weeks from today, will be my next Paris show. Thanks for watching. Hi, thanks for watching, Bear. Very sweet of you. Hi, Roxanne. No, I'm going crazy. Have you got Roxanne? I don't know if you got Roxanne. No, you haven't got Roxanne. You have got Roxanne. No, I don't know. Have a nice evening to you too, Beatrice, and see you very, very soon in your museum. Bye, everybody. Take care. Au revoir. À bientôt.